So let's dive in and let's look into why gamification workshops work, right? So traditional workshop format, after a while of doing this, I realized that it feels very much like work for our clients, right? And then when we say let's do a workshop, it's sort of it's no longer that exciting. It used to be maybe, in 2009. At this point, it's really old school. And traditional workshops usually have this process, like with, let's use a workbook and go through things and watch the slides, which really feels rigid. And because of that, it puts people in this environment as if they feel they're put into the box. There is this element of control, like we want to control the process. We want to kind of make sure people follow everything we tell them. And that's really not freeing them, right? That's not freeing them, which means we cannot uncover their full potential, which we cannot generate the best ideas for whatever purpose we are running the workshop. And that's, not the max of what we can get out of this as facilitators. So, whereas if we look at it as a concept of a game, right, whether it's just a game from the childhood, an online game just in general, or a gamified workshop, it can have a structure which is not visible. I call it invisible structure. And the purpose of that would be not to control people, but rather to steer their focus and slightly guide them so we get to the point we want to get, but it's done in a more kind of open way that embraces freedom to express themselves, right? And when we create that sort of environment, that's when magic happens. That's when people feel like it's fun, it's engaging, and that works with people on all levels, whether you are an executive or whether you are, a social media assistant. All the workshops that I've done for all of these people, and this format activates both leaders and individual contributors in exactly the same way. And when you say that, let's go and do a workshop, a gamified workshop, or play a game, it might sound not serious, right? So, of course, you might think that some people will look at it in this, oh, what's that? Is this serious? And in a way, that's the point. Like, we want that reaction, or we want that mood with people, that they would come to the workshop with that, because then they bring the open mind. When you are selling the workshop to the people, then of course you need to also, prove why it will work and what's the reasoning behind that, which I will get into it later in the presentation. But the whole idea is when you're presenting it to the people you want to invite, when the workshop has been already sold, then it's actually very good that they come with an open mind, without feeling that this is work. So the format of play, right, it's also very relaxing. And when people come, there are no expectations. They don't know what to expect. And then we activate also curiosity. And this is exactly the stage the state that you get into when you go on an adventure, right? When you go embark into something new, something unknown, and your mind opens up, and then you're open to receive new information or generate new ideas. We cannot do that in our traditional day-to-day routine when we have tasks we need to do and things to achieve. We get into this kind of daily routine structure. Like, I'm not against routine, it's really needed if we want to achieve certain goals. But when we're talking about workshops that which goal is to bring new ideas, to inspire people, to really kind of look at the organization or a mission that we are doing from a new perspective, a new angle, we cannot do that in our daily routine format. We need to get out of it. And the format of play, gamified workshop is exactly that, can do that. So that's why it's effective. When we are in this mode, right, of play, if you kind of recall and you go for road tripping, or you're really much more open to meet new people, to collaborate with people, right? And that's exactly the spirit that we bring into a gamified workshop. So leaders might meet their employees that they haven't seen in a very long time and haven't interacted, and suddenly this is an opportunity for them to come together, to co-create, to reflect, and to have some fun while doing that. So playtime embraces collaboration and co-creation, which is exactly this state of mind that does wonders when it comes to generating new ideas, or gaining a new perspective into what you're doing. Playtime also activates curiosity and creativity, right? So it's a very highly sought after a state when we are in the work life, right? So we can achieve that through a gamified workshop. And playtimes also leads to innovation, right? So if we activate all of these things that I've mentioned, naturally new ideas will resurface. And new ideas always can contribute to giving a competitive edge for the brand. And, that cultivates, fosters a maker's mindset rather than a copy paste one. So we would be no longer competing in the market, on just price or slightly better product, but we would be always doing something new, being ahead of the crowd. And, with this spirit, we really a category in itself, right? So I always advocate that, and I live like that myself. Through the gamified workshop, we really can get people into the state of flow and get them out of the thinking mode, right? And that state as well activates a lot of things within, and this gives new ideas. When we are in the spirit on flow and we are not thinking, the magic is happening. In other words, there are these concepts of randomness, right, and spontaneity that are behind the new ideas. And when you blend that with structure, meaning that there is a facilitator within the workshop that can steer people to reach the goal, right? Because every time we do a gamified workshop, we don't just do it in a chaotic way. Like we ask, what do we want to achieve? What's the goal? And the facilitator leads to that. But with the gamified format, there's a lot of space for randomness and spontaneity to occur. And that blended with structure really makes things so much more powerful and enjoyable. And this leaves space for joy, and joy is contagious. So that's why gamified workshops work. There is one but in this formula, is that, there needs to be substance behind the playtime.